Hello, dear World of Warcraft friends. Welcome back to a new video on my channel. Today we're talking about the popularity of the different classes in World of Warcraft Midnight. As is usually the case, there are classes that people like to play. There are classes that people like to play less. And let's just take a look at the most popular classes and specs. What do people like to play? This is interesting because I would say it's still quite interesting because I mean, if there's a class that's played especially often, you naturally have more competition for slots. So, purely hypothetically, which they're not, but if everyone played Rogue and you're also a Rogue, it naturally makes it harder for you to get spots in groups. But let's just take a look at the whole thing. Let's get started with the video. If you want, please leave a like and subscribe, that would help me a lot. Thank you very much. And with that, let's go. The whole thing is analyzed using data from the website Data for Azeroth. And in the end, they say, or it scans which classes are played and how often. And so this is purely about max level. So everything you see here are the max level charts. And here we can clearly see the Paladin in first place. And honestly, that doesn't surprise me. Paladin has always been a very, very popular class, which is mainly because people really, really like to play Retribution. That's one of two specs where I'd say people play it almost all the time, no matter how good or bad it is. Number one, as I said, Retribution. Number two, Beastmaster Hunter. So it's played quite frequently. Plus, you're extremely flexible with tank, healer, and DPS. On top of that, both the tank, the healer, and the DPS are relatively good this season, so it's no wonder they're ranked so high. In second place, with almost 12% of all players, is the Druid. And here too, we can see a pattern emerging. The class is super flexible. You can take on all roles. You can play tank, healer, and DPS. There are even two DPS specs, melee and ranged DPS. That makes a druid incredibly flexible. You can play whatever you feel like, whatever you enjoy. And yeah, it's always been a very, very popular class. However, it has to be said that a lot of people, especially in Mythic Plus, usually play the spec that performs best. So you can't really say that we always have, I don't know, 10 people playing Boomkin. Although, out of all the specs mentioned, Boomkin is already the most popular. After that, in third place, we have the Hunter. And I already mentioned that earlier. Here it surprises me in a way, since Hunter, or that's what sets it apart from the other classes, Hunter can only be DPS, so it doesn't offer that variety. But Hunter is one of the OG classes from World of Warcraft Classic, just like Paladin and Druid. That will definitely contribute a bit as well. And as I already said, Beastmaster is a spec that people always enjoy playing, no matter which expansion or which patch. Fourth place is the Shaman, which is another OG class from World of Warcraft Classic. I can definitely understand that. You can play melee, range, DPS, and healer. So again, a lot of flexibility here. The first so-called new class, the one that was added later with the expansions, is in fifth place, and that's the Demon Hunter. Normally, Demon Hunter has always been pretty popular. But in this patch, it got another significant boost in popularity. And that's because of the introduction of the third spec for the Devour Demon Hunter. That definitely helped and now ensures that the Demon Hunter is in a solid spot here. Behind that we have two more melees, Warrior and Death Knight. So here as well, the next, although it's not really new, that was back in Wrath of the Lich King, but let's put it this way, it was a class that wasn't in WoW at launch, namely the Death Knight. In between, the warrior as a tank and melee, probably one of the most classic MMO classes. I call it that at this point. Yeah. Not wrong. But neither of them are really my thing. After that come the clovies. Mage, priest, and warlock, one after the other. With mage and warlock, of course, we have the disadvantage, in quotation marks, that they can only play DPS. And if you like being able to fill a lot of different roles, you probably won't be as happy here. Also, it's common that one or even two of the specs don't perform that well. So if you want to be at the top, you always have to play the best spec at the time. Warlock is actually pretty much the same. In between is the priest, and you can see it from Warlock at 6.9 up to Shaman at around 8.1. The classes are relatively close to each other, so there's not much difference. I think priest is actually really, really awesome because you can heal with two different specs. Shadow Priest is one of the coolest range DPS just visually in the whole game. And yeah, then the gaps start to appear. In third to last place, we have the Monk, which I honestly can't really understand. I never really liked Monk either, so I actually contributed to that percentage myself. But if you give the specs a chance, I have to say, tank, healer, and DPS are all actually quite fun. So it's worth taking a look. And then we come to the bottom two. Evoker has slipped to last place. We've actually had Rogue in last place before. With Evoker, it's also like, yeah, augmentation is usually pretty good. But the other two specs are kind of a hit or miss thing. And that often leads to, yeah, if Evoker is barely played, it drops further down in the ranking. And in the second to last place, we have an OG class. The Rogue, I have to say, I can totally understand that. Rogue was never really much fun for me personally. For me, it was always just a class. No idea, you can only play DPS. And only melee at that. I also generally get the feeling that people prefer playing ranged over melee, but oh well. So you see, you have the least competition as an Evoker, the most as a Paladin, especially as Retribution. If you're still not quite sure which main you want to play, you can just keep an eye on that, but of course, as always, fun comes first. What do you think? Where does your class end up? Feel free to write it in the comments. And with that, thanks for watching, see you in the next video, and take care!